Something about my assessment of the man versus bear question had been bothering me, and I hadn't been able to put my finger on it until today. Commonly, I have said, how can you tell someone their feelings aren't valid? Provided that's the way they actually feel and they're being honest, how can you tell someone their feelings aren't valid? Like they aren't justified for having the feelings they do. They feel that way. That's all you need to be justified for them is to feel it. And you have that feeling. So, how can I tell them they are not justified? How can I say those feelings are not valid? So, I see such a question as a definition, as a manifestation of reality. Hungry bear about to eat you alive. Kidnapper in trench coat hat with a van. Who do you run towards? And I don't think that's the way they mean it. Now, I have been in situations with women where they'll say, "Oh, I hate that guy. I wish he was dead." And then like a minute passes, and they'll look at me and be like, "But don't hurt him. I don't want you to do anything to him." And I'm like, "What do you mean?" And they're like, "Don't hurt him." Like, "But you just told me you want him dead." Like, I wouldn't say that unless I truly want someone dead. Like, if I hear this language, if I hear this person's dead, I'm gonna laugh. Like, I might go to the funeral and kick up dust. This is someone I hate. Not that I would ever really do that. I don't think of anyone I hate right now. I try not to create enemies. I'm a peaceful Cody. I'm like David Carradine in Kung Fu. But no, no. But I couldn't understand that at first. How can you tell me, like, you want this person, you hope they're dead? Like, you must hate them, like, beyond, like, white knuckle hate when you're around them. But they just mean it as a feeling. Oh, I don't like him. Like, they don't mean that the same way I interpret that. And they surprisingly rapidly surmise that from my response of it. So I think that's what's going on here. Like, I'm interpreting this as like a matter of definitions. Man versus bear. Hungry bear about to eat you, kidnapper. Who do you run towards? But I don't think that's the way they are interpreting that question. Now, I also understand, like I said, it's meant to be provocative and upsetting because it's so preposterous to, like, view it the way I am. Like, well, I don't see you hanging out with bears every day, but, you know, you're around men every day and you still seem to be here, so I think this question kind of answers itself, but I don't think that's what they're saying with it. And I have also said to women before, like, I don't know how you leave the house. Like, if I was in your position and saw the world the way I do, I don't think I could leave the house. Like, I could not deal with being at the mercy of these degenerates. Like, I couldn't. I work out 2 hours every day just so I can have an edge on most people. Like, the reason I'm doing that, I condition my knuckles because the reason I'm doing that is so I can be capable of defending myself against, the more dangerous elements and people that might desire to do me harm. I don't know who at this point is desiring to do me harm. Like, in fact, one time a girl, she gave me a pair of pants, and I'm like, these are too tight. I don't belong wearing these. She's like, they look fine, they look fine. And I had to walk home that night, and I'm walking down this old industrial road where there's all these abandoned factories and shit. This is a road I always take, right? And this is like 2 in the morning, and this dude pulls up. And I'm like, oh shit, it's about to go down. So I'm like, I'm getting ready, and the window comes down. It's a pretty normal guy. And he's like, "Hey, you looking for a ride?" Like, "Nah, homie, I'm good. I'm good." He's like, he's kind of awkward, and then he like speeds off. And then it dawns on me. He thought I was a prostitute. The pants. And because I was wearing those tight pants at 2 in the morning, the dude thought I was fucking hooking. And then I was like, well, I'm good enough to pay for. Like, actually, I'm kind of flattered here. But nevertheless, like, and a lot of, like, is what I, from my perspective of a lot of women, I could not deal with the fact that I could not immediately strike back and protect myself from a lot of these guys the way I see the world. So, like, I can only, and I always try and keep that in mind when interacting with women, and always try and leave like space and stuff. I don't get in people's personal space, and I'm very polite and nice about things because I think about it in terms of like how I feel, and if I were in their position, what would I see me as? So I think that is where I'm going wrong. They mean it more as a feeling as opposed to like where I'm interpreting it as like the harsh and brutal reality of it. Or that's my current assessment of it. Maybe that'll change. Take it for what it's worth, I guess.